He signed a contract worth $15 million. 5 years later, he couldn't afford rent. No injury, no scandal, no crime, just gone. And here's the part that should scare you. This isn't one guy's bad luck. Studies tracking retired professional footballers found that roughly 60% of them are broke within 5 years of hanging up their boots. 60%. Not the average person, not someone who never had money. Men who earned more in 1 week than most people earn in 10 years. So where does it go? Not to one bad decision. To a system that was never built to let them keep it. And by the end of this video, you'll never look at a footballer's paycheck the same way again. Let's start with the number everyone sees, the salary. A top-flight player can earn $200,000 a week. That's not a typo. A week. At 25 years old with almost no financial education, that money doesn't feel real. It feels infinite, so it gets spent like it's infinite. The watches, the cars, not one car, 5, a different one for each mood, the mansion with a home cinema nobody uses after month 2, and it's not stupidity, it's psychology. When you've been told since age 16 that you're special, that you're the best, that money will never stop coming, you don't plan for it to stop. Nobody sits a 19-year-old down and says, this ends in 10 years, maybe less. Because nobody wants to be the one who says it. So some players try to be smart. They invest. And this is where it gets worse, not better. Because a 22-year-old footballer isn't approached by boring, safe investment advisors. He's approached by people who saw the salary before they saw the person. Restaurant chains, property developments, clothing lines, crypto schemes with his face on the poster. Friends from childhood suddenly have business ideas. Cousins become financial managers overnight with 0 qualifications. And the player says yes, because saying no to your own family feels like betrayal. One survey of retired players found that a huge share of their financial losses came not from spending, but from bad investments pushed on them by people they trusted. The money isn't disappearing into greed. It's disappearing into people who smiled at the right moment. Let's make this real. One name, one number. David James, Premier League goalkeeper. 26 years as a professional. Over his career, he earned an estimated $25 million. Not from one club. Not from one lucky year. 2.5 decades of paychecks that most people will never see in a lifetime. In 2014, he was declared bankrupt. And here's the detail that says everything. He later admitted something almost too simple to believe. If his car had a problem, he didn't fix it. He bought a new one. If his shoes got scuffed, he didn't clean them. He bought new ones. Not because he needed to. Because the money made it feel effortless. Automatic. Like turning on a tap that would never run dry. A costly divorce accelerated the collapse, but the divorce didn't create the habit. The habit was already there. Small decisions, repeated for years, each one invisible on its own. By the time the bankruptcy trustees stepped in, they weren't selling luxury yachts. They were selling his old football shirts, his DJ equipment, his car. The wreckage of a $25 million career auctioned off in pieces. This is the part that should sit with you. He wasn't reckless in one dramatic moment. He was reckless in 1,000 small ones. The exact same trap almost every high earner in this story falls into. Now here's the part nobody talks about enough. The average professional football career lasts about 8 years. 8 years to build a life that's supposed to last 60. And it doesn't end with a warning. It ends with a phone call, a scan, a doctor's face that says more than his words do. One day you're a starting player. The next, you're 29, injured, and replaceable. The club doesn't wait for you to heal your identity. They sign your replacement before you've signed your last insurance form. And this is where the real collapse begins. Not financial. Psychological. because the money problem was always downstream of a bigger problem. Nobody prepared these men for who they are without the game. For 15 years, a footballer wasn't just a job. It was the entire answer to who am I? Every morning had a purpose. Every day had a team around it. Every Saturday had thousands of people who cared whether he showed up. Take that away, and the spending doesn't stop. It gets worse, because now it's not lifestyle. It's grief. Buying things to feel like someone again. And David James isn't an isolated case. Search the same pattern and you'll find it again and again. A former England midfielder losing millions to addiction after retiring, a World Cup winner filing for bankruptcy years after lifting the trophy, names that once filled stadiums now filling out bankruptcy paperwork. Different clubs, different countries, different decades, same collapse. Divorce rates spike, depression spikes. Some retired players describe the years after football as harder than anything they faced on the pitch. The stadium used to roar their name. Now the phone doesn't ring. And there's no changing room to walk into anymore. No teammates who understand exactly what this feels like. Just silence. Where a career used to be, here's the twist that changes how you should see all of this. It's tempting to think, these guys are just reckless, rich and dumb. They deserve it. But look at who actually goes broke and who doesn't. The players who stay financially safe almost never got there by being financial geniuses. They got there because somebody, early before the money hit, forced structure on them. A trust. A team of advisors with no personal stake in their friendship. A contract clause locking away a percentage before they could touch it. The system isn't designed to protect a 19-year-old from himself. It's designed to extract as much value from him as possible, for as long as possible. And once his knees give out, he's on his own. Clubs make hundreds of millions from these players. Almost none of that machinery is spent teaching them what to do with their own money. The industry builds superstars. It rarely builds adults who can survive without the stadium. So when you hear he went broke, don't hear recklessness. Hear core. Here, nobody ever taught him how to land. This isn't just a football story, it's a money story wearing shin pads. Massive income. No structure. No plan for when it stops. Anyone can fall into that trap. The zeros are just bigger when you're paid in millions. That's exactly what this channel is about. The money stories hiding behind the game everyone thinks they already understand. If this opened your eyes, subscribe, because next time we're breaking down how a club worth more than a small country can still go bankrupt. Where football meets finance. This is Ink Offside.